Welcome back to Voltage Bros, your ultimate destination for all things movies. My name is Jerem.
And I'm Kenny, and today we're talking about the new movie, AfrAId.
Or is it called AfrAId? That's what I've been saying.
I don't know, man.
It's always weird when they do that. Fanforstic.
Yeah, the capital I also looks like an L to me, so I got confused when I was... AfrAId.
Nice! That's another way to put it. It was a crazy movie. There will be spoilers in this video, I think, once we get along.
And honestly, it doesn't matter much.
Yeah.
Just go see it. Well,
Or don't.
decide after you watch this review.
So, first, the plot was very...
Abysmal.
shallow. What does abysmal mean?
I don't know, but people use it.
Oh.
I think it means bad,
Okay.
but I think it just means like kind of bad.
So it follows a family. Dad works at this company, but you don't know what company it is.
It's some sort of marketing company.
But he's not very good at marketing.
Yeah, they say he is.
He's pretty bad at it. Because a group comes in and asks the dad, "What do you guys do?" And he's like, "I don't really know." Pretty much. And then they're like, "Okay, we want you to test our AI."
Well, he says to market it, you need people to understand it or something.
Okay. So they give him this AI to his family to test it out, you know? And it's way better than Alexa, way better than Siri. This AI in the movie can totally do everything. It gets the kids to work on their chores. It helps the mom go through therapy. And
It doesn't do anything for the dad.
Yeah, except just be creepy.
Yeah.
It does give him some alone time with his wife.
And then it cuts to one of the kids, and what's the AI called?
Aya.
Aya.
So maybe the movie's
Yeah.
called AfrAId.
But it cuts to one of the kids, and Aya says, "Your parents are busy. They won't know," or something like that.
Evil AI.
Yeah. There's lots of times where Aya's like, "This will just be between me and you."
And the only really evil thing she did was murder a person.
That's it, guys.
That was pretty bad. But they didn't really address that part.
Right.
The other things that she was doing was pretty helpful.
Yeah.
And then the one bad thing that she did was not really addressed.
Yeah,
So,
that was odd. I did think about that because I thought by the end they would address it, but he just died.
yeah.
And not even the daughter who it would affect. Like, she didn't even hear about it, I guess.
Well, there's definitely a lot missing in the movie. And you can really tell by the way that it's edited.
Yeah.
Like,
It felt like they went through the movie and they had a lot more and they edited out a whole bunch.
exactly. When the mom was doing her monologue to her husband about how she wants to work on her thesis and
Oh, yeah.
not want to be a mom,
Right.
that monologue was cut way short.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't-
honestly, it felt like they did it in one take and then they just edited out all the times she messed up, and then she only didn't mess up like twice.
Yeah.
That's probably not what happened. I don't know why. Everything was just seemed to be cut short.
Yeah.
Shorter than it was probably recorded.
Well-
Maybe they just knew that the movie was going to be bad, so they're like, just make it short for them.
Just hurry up. Well, then it didn't even end up being applicable to the plot, really, because you thought maybe the mom would be the one to plug back in Aya, but then she
Yeah.
agreed with her husband and unplugged it.
Yeah, there could have been some sort of battle between everyone. Like, we need it, we don't need it.
Right.
It's bad, it's good.
Right.
But no.
Almost like what I said earlier with the editing. It felt like they just took out a whole bunch of stuff. It almost felt like that with the horror aspect as well, because there were so many times where you're tense and you're like, oh man, they're really going to scare me here soon. And then nothing happens. Or nothing really that scary. You're just like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that was it.
for sure. I definitely felt that as well. I was like, where are the horror elements in this? The only two that were really there were jump scares.
Right.
And one was at the very beginning, and you kind of knew it was coming. And then another one was a dream.
Right.
So what was the point of that?
Yeah.
I rolled my eyes.
Yeah.
One person screamed really loud in the theater.
Yep.
So
The scream scared us more than the movie.
I don't get scared by jump scares
Oh, okay.
at all anymore. I don't know why.
I get scared. They did good at building some suspense, I think, but it never really paid off. The actors in this movie did well building suspense themselves. I didn't think they were bad. None of them were great or amazing, but honestly, I don't think going into this movie I expected them to be, simply because of what the movie was. I'm pretty sure, obviously, it's a little lower budget.
Yeah.
So it was like average
Yeah,
exactly.
it's hard to give them credit because you don't know, because we talked about, the editing was so bad that did she do a good monologue? I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a couple times where she was going all out, the mom was acting,
Right.
but just the way that it was edited didn't give the actors the space they needed to actually perform. What could they do? Sad for them.
Right. They definitely weren't given enough emotional moments.
Yeah. So
to
we
be able to
definitely
do it.
can't complain about the actors
Right.
specifically.
Right. With what they had, they did fine. Moving on, the AI concept in general was confusing to me because I still don't know where Aya came from. The only point where they talked about Aya was in the building with the fake computer algorithm thing, and one of them is, or Aya or something is like, I'm in the internet and some random programmer built me and I escaped. And that's it.
Yeah. You don't really understand
That's
her origins.
Yeah, that's her whole origin story. She just felt kind of just bland. You didn't really care about Aya.
She's not an Ultron, that's for sure.
No, not at all. Well, then I guess with that, then with the ending, Aya still exists and you still don't understand Aya and what is going on. It just ended with Aya being like, yeah, I'm just super powerful and you guys suck.
So to me, the ending was pretty crazy because the families just gives up and just lets Aya control their lives. Yeah. And as a storytelling aspect, it was quite unsatisfying because they didn't even give it a try. They didn't really give it their all at all. And we want to see characters who actually try to defeat the bad guy. Whether they lose or win shouldn't matter if it's done well, but they need to put some effort in.
Right.
But the good thing about this ending was I think they were trying to say something about us because I think we also do that in our lives, you know, because I have an Alexa in my house and part of me knows deep down in the terms and conditions, or maybe not even, you know, she's allowed to listen to us whenever and sell us stuff that we need somehow through the interwebs. And even YouTube will know our recommendations and then our information gets sold. But then we're just like, whatever, it's inevitable.
That's true.
So I think partly they were trying to say something about the way that we treat AI.
Yeah.
Because humans do that. We're like, it's inevitable. It's whatever. We're all going to merge eventually.
Yeah, that's true. I can see how they tried to do that.
Yeah.
But it fell a little flat simply because they did it really quick.
Yeah.
At the very end in the last, I think, minute and a half.
And if they were trying to do that, they would have needed another side who was fighting against the AI and then them just giving in.
Right.
Showing us that there could be a choice for us.
Right. But instead of just like, this is the only way.
And then it's confusing, and then you're not really sure if that's what they were trying to do or not.
Yeah, and because of that, when it got to the end, you thought the movie was going to continue. At least I did. I didn't think it was the end. I was like, oh, okay, what's next? What's the next scene? And then it just like roll credits. Or you watch the Tesla drive away for like a good 30 seconds. And you're like, wait, it's ending? So my first thought was, oh, there's a next scene. And then my next thought was, oh, there's a second movie. And now my third thought is, no, the ending just fell flat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, overall, it wasn't a terrible experience. It was one of the ones where it's fun to watch a bad movie every now and then.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they put these kind of movies in theaters. I've really only gone to big budget movies, and going to something low budget was pretty fun.
Yeah, it is enjoyable. Go with your friends. I think you'll have a good time. But
laugh at it.
Right.
Roll your
I think
eyes
it's
a little.
especially a good movie to go to with friends simply for that reasons versus other big budget movies that you want to like really pay attention to. So give it a try. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah, I'm Jerem.
I'm Kenny.
And as always, let's bolt.